Hi, Adam Degi.
Hi,
You're going to be in your own hometown all weekend
I am.
at Dr. Grin's.
It's the holiday weekend. It's me at Dr. Grin's.
Is it
Yes.
is it better? I'm still fixing this, darn it. Okay, is it better being here or being on the road?
There's definitely pros and cons to both, but I get all the nostalgia with working my home club. It's not quite the same as it was when you start out because all your friends are around, and I think one of the cons of working the road once you start headlining is you're not working with your friends anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so when I'm in town, I do get to see more family and friends, which can be good and distracting, because you feel like you have to host and entertain and not just focus on the comedy aspect. But having said that, it's always great. I mean, this is where I started. I've met so many close friends I have to this day when I first started working the club and doing open mics. And when I first started, I never thought that I would headline
That's what's cool.
my home club. So yeah,
That's the cool thing. It's
absolutely.
like the respect level,
Mhm.
which you work hard for that. And the respect
Absolutely.
level is like you walk into a room and it's different.
Mhm.
Because I remember back when you started here. I
Yeah.
remember back in the day when you started here, it was like, I mean, when Laugh Fest first came to town, you guys were running, scrambling, doing all this
Yeah.
great stuff for Laugh Fest, and now, you're the guy.
Trying to be.
You're that guy. But
It's cool. I mean, there's only so many weeks a year. So when you get to headline a week, it's definitely cool.
it is.
It's a
They
lot of
only
fun.
give you a few. You're right. So it is very cool. Adam Degi, of course, you tour. How many
I'm
days?
typically gone 2 or 3 weekends a month. I don't travel quite as much as I used to. I stay closer to the nest now with my son.
That's right. You're a
You know,
dad. You're a dad.
but I still travel enough. I'm not flying anywhere, or I'm not driving across the country anymore. But I still I'm gone enough for
Yeah,
my wife to miss me, I think.
that's good. Well, that's what's important.
Or at least
You-
that's what she says. Yeah.
so being the dad, that's changed your whole. Does that change your
Yeah.
outlook, like, on comedy? Is it do you add that into your act? Are we
Sure.
talking
Yeah. I
about
talk about, I poke fun at fatherhood. I definitely have jokes about toddlers. And I try to, there's a certain aspect of talking about being a parent or having kids that kind of makes you feel like a hack because it's been done so much, but there's ways to do it in your own way,
yeah.
unique to yourself, where it still feels original. And I think the stuff that I do is, um, and it's relatable because a lot of people have kids and a lot of people are married. So it's fun, and it definitely gives you a new energy to write jokes because you're
Well,
experiencing something new every day, and that's kinda how I've always developed material is just organically. I've never been able to sit down and force myself to do it. It just kinda comes,
and you
you
have to
know,
write. Like, you could be
through living.
anywhere. You could be anywhere, and you got to write it
Yeah.
down, or do you speak it
Typically,
in?
when I'm supposed to be doing something else or I should
Sure,
be listening to my significant other, and I'm really
thinking of
thinking of
something
jokes in
funny.
my head, yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you say, "Oh, it's been played," the kid thing, not really, because it's your experience as a
Right.
dad, which I got a feeling that yours is a little
Oh, yeah,
different than the average.
I'm not talking about how great parenting is when I'm on stage. I'll say that much.
Well, and I will say this, and I think I say it almost every time I see it, and today's going to be no exception. I've been to a lot of weddings, and yours was the most unique because you had a
Mhm.
comic marry you.
We Yeah, he was just in town. That's my
Oh,
buddy Jake. He was
you
just
were
in
doing
town from LA.
stand up there.
Yeah, and he's, in hindsight, I still think we made the right decision, but he is definitely my buddy Jake that married us is an individual,
I
to
think
say the
you
least.
think you
He
made the right. It
he
was
is not
great.
he he definitely is living to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah,
He is him and him only. He's not influenced by anybody else, the way he dresses, the way he acts, all his goofy tattoos and
didn't
his
care. He didn't
yeah,
care.
he's a different guy. So we loved the way and he did a great job. He did a great job. We also had Indian food and nachos at our wedding, which is we didn't have to clean the toilets or do
Well,
the
I
plumbing,
was
so
just I know. Well, you know what was funny is he's up there cracking wise, cracking jokes, cracking
mhm.
wise. What am I, my dad? All of a sudden, he was cracking wise. He had moxie. No, he was cracking. And if you know anything about Indian ceremonies, they're very traditional and they go on for
Yeah,
days. So there was a little of both.
mhm.
And there were people on your wife's side in full
Oh, yeah.
Indian, beautiful. And they're just kinda looking like, "What is happening?" Like, it was really because their ceremony and it was great. I
He was
loved
a
it.
wild card. I'd be
Yeah,
lying if I said that we went in confident, but we were also like,
nervous.
"This could go south quickly," but it never did.
Yeah, it was
He's
great.
he stuck to the script. He was very professional in his own unique way, and he made it happen. We were very proud of
It
him.
was great. So we sat there doing that, and then we sat there saying, "God, this guy's marrying above his pay scale."
Mhm.
I mean,
I
she
mean, everybody can do it. They let Dave Dyer marries people, for Christ's sake.
yeah,
So
well, that's true, but I mean you married above your pay scale.
oh, yes, with
Yeah,
my
yeah,
wife, oh gosh.
100%. We
Absolutely, yeah. My
oh.
I think my wife's a 8 or a 9, my iPhone is a 6, so I'm doing pretty well.
Well, I do remember listen to me, back in the day, when you guys first started dating,
Mhm.
and she's like, I can't stop laughing," and I go, "That's oh, she's in. She's in because that's
Yeah.
really since you
She
think
well,
about
I
it."
mean, I think she has since stopped laughing, but at least we had those good couple years there.
Or at least with you instead of a. No, but yeah, so when was it when you first thought, "This is what I wanna do?" Like, were you a kid? Were you the clown in school?
Yeah, it was, it's cliche, but, like,
Because
the
I don't
class
know.
clown, I was
Yeah.
I was actually whatever those stupid things you have senior year where they
Yeah,
vote.
fake mock elections.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
we
like the class clown, and I mean, I was
see.
certainly not a fighter. I was never the strongest
Mm-mm,
or smartest kid,
mm-mm.
and that was kinda my avenue where I was like, "Well, I think I'm funny. This is how I'll stand out or how I'll get attention," and it actually got to the point where it was more important for me to make my friends laugh than it was for me to,
Do
do
any
good in school, which is probably why I'm at where I'm at in life
same.
now, but
Right,
we'll
good.
take it.
Class clown, I did not get class clown, I thought I would, I wanted it. You
Mhm.
know how you go for I got yarn spinner, which means BSer. I know, thanks for that, and flirt, class flirt,
Oh,
which
well,
no.
flirt's not bad. I mean,
Well, when
flirt
you're I
can get
was
you things.
chunky, you work harder. You do. I
But
was
a
a chunky
yarn
girl.
spinner?
Yeah, yarn spinner, right? Is that
I think people still do that. I think people still
do the yarn
still
spinner?
knit. Yeah,
Yarn oh,
sure.
I think it meant BSer.
Oh, is that what it
That's
means?
what it
Yeah, see,
means. It
that's
means
that's before my
BSer.
time. I thought it was
Oh,
I thought you literally meant
no,
people were like, "Oh, this woman's gonna knit later in life."
yarn spinner means I BS. Tell stories. You spin yarn. You lie. Oh my God, that's right. You're younger than me. I
Oh, that's
forget.
funny.
You're a
I did
lot
not know
younger
that.
than
Yeah,
me.
we would have just called that person, a liar.
A
Mm,
BSer.
mhm.
So you are so that's when you knew. When did you first start performing? What was your first time on stage? I don't know this about you.
I think it was junior high, we had a talent show,
You
and, I did stand-up comedy. I talked about my mom throwing shoes at me and having a cardboard cutout out of me to practice.
at a talent show in 7th
Yeah, it
grade?
was and I mean, it probably went as well as you'd imagine.
Still, that's a ballsy
Um,
move.
but I think there was actually one other kid in my class who was very funny, and he
Uh-oh.
did stand up as well.
Uh-oh.
So I wasn't like the only one. So it wasn't, I guess, as weird as it could be, but it was still unique, I guess, because everybody else is doing, God knows
Singing
what.
or dancing or whatever. Right.
But yeah, I think that was the first time where I really itched you know,
Wow.
that that itch, and I was like, I want to do this.
This is wow, that's
So
pretty you know yourself then.
yeah, well, I mean, I think it was more of just like not so much confidence in comedy, but a lack of confidence in everything else.
That this is one thing I can do.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
just the way
So,
my brain works.
how do you handle like, do you get because I wonder if it'll happen here. Do your friends know to shut up when they watch you, or do you get heckled? I mean, do you
Yes
get
and no. So it's
oh
you
god,
know who not to invite back. Um,
because
and there's
they want everybody to know that they
sometimes it's
know you.
even like a comic. I've done shows with other comedians in the audience, and they're the ones talking, and you're like, you should know better than anybody that you're supposed to shut up.
Right.
And I mess with people enough, where it kinda it's not a distraction for me because I'm all over the place anyway. I've got ADHD and I talk quite a bit. I mess with people, so
Right.
it kinda goes with the flow of the show, and it's not a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes it makes the show better,
Yeah.
and if you're just being, obnoxious and disrespectful, I'll usually, make you shut up pretty quickly, and you
Like, what do you
usually learn
say?
a
Like, do
lesson.
you can have you ever kicked anybody out of a show?
I've
Have you gotten
never
anybody?
I've never kicked anybody out. I'm sure
Oh,
that it's been enough of a distraction that the, uh the people policing the room eventually ask somebody to leave, but I can honestly say I'm undefeated versus hecklers. The hecklers never got the
all
best
right.
of me, but
All right.
that's mostly because they're stupid, not because I'm smart or funny.
I will tell you this, I've been watching your show, your act, your, stand-up for a lot of act. What am I, my grandpa again? I've been watching that show that you do, um, for a lot of years, and we had you do a charity function for
Mhm.
us not that long ago, and it has it's super edgy and super funny, but it's like a punch in the face. It's in a great way, in the
Yeah.
greatest way, because there's not as much buildup. There's like, "Dot, dot, 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 dot,
Yeah, yeah.
pow." Is that, like, because you've evolved into or is it
I think it's you want as
it's
much
so
punch
good?
as possible because
Yeah.
you want the
Yeesh, yeesh, yeesh.
you break it down minutes per laugh and all that stuff, which I don't know. My pace is actually not super fast, and a lot of my friends always give me crap for it because 'cause they're like, "You gotta pick up the pace, man. It's there's you can kinda
Oh,
slow it down," but that's just kind of I'm
no, I
kinda
don't think so.
nonchalant, and I kinda want people
Mm-mm.
to be like, "This guy doesn't care," even though I do care.
Yeah,
Um,
it's well planned, but it
but yeah,
doesn't seem like it.
I'm definitely I don't think I'm not pandering to anybody. There's
Mm-mm.
probably some people who really don't like some of the stuff I say, and then there's probably people who love some of the stuff that I say, and I try to play both sides. I'm not real political, but I do poke fun at, all groups of people. I mostly make fun of myself, which I
Yeah.
think people can enjoy because it's self-deprecation is, I think, a good humor to
N
have, so
I guess a better description is I don't you're casual, but you don't see it coming, and when you get punched, you
yes.
get punched, and that's what
Yeah,
I
for
loved. I'm
sure.
like, "What did you just oh my god." So, yeah, and then I haven't seen your do you do any, if all, like, other than talking at a heckler,
Mhm.
crowd work? Do you do any of
I
that?
do, yeah. I do quite a bit of
See,
crowd
I've
work.
not
So
seen
I will I'll ask a question here and there, but it's usually more organic where somebody will say something and then I'll play off of what they said. Or just somebody who's being ridiculous in the front row has a certain look or is
wow.
just saying ridiculous things. It's not like the crowd work, it's so funny because this new generation thinks that all these like TikTok or Instagram comics, like, started crowd work, like the Matt Rifes of the
Yes,
world, which I give him all the credit. He's
for
very
sure.
funny, but it's like people have been doing crowd work for a long time before these people were born.
Right.
And it's not typically you're just like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" It can be, but that's not what I do. I let them say what they're gonna say in response to a joke I do, and then I'll play off that. So,
God,
there's
that's
different forms
hard.
of crowd work, but it is very fun, and I think it makes people the beauty of crowd work is it makes people that are there live feel like they're part of this show, just this
Well, it's
one
endearing.
moment in
Yeah,
time. It's
it's
it's unique to them and the show they're at, and it makes them feel, special.
what do you do? Do you have a system in place if you forget where you are?
Gosh.
I know, see, that to
You
me
know,
is like,
I'm
ah,
really bad at I should be more disciplined in my set list where I know, "Hey, I'm gonna start with this and have this in the middle and end with this." But I've been doing it long enough, I have enough material, I kinda just go up there and tell jokes and let the audience take me where they're gonna take me, which
really?
which can help and hurt me. But I've gotten comfortable enough where I kinda go up there and do my stuff. Um, and I will lose my place. Like, occasionally, I'll really wanna get a set list down, and it's the hardest thing for me to do is memorize stuff, so but I've got enough material now where I just kinda and you know what jokes work well together in chunks or one after another, if I did this and it did well, then, "Oh, I can do this
Wow.
next joke." So it's
I didn't know that about you.
you're kinda all over I'm all over the place at least, which is I probably shouldn't be, but it's just kinda
Do you
the way
know
I
how
am.
hard that is though? No, that's a talent. How hard that is, like the Seinfelds of the world have every second of
Yeah, yeah.
everything planned out. And if you just can wing it when you have to wing it,
Mhm.
holy crap.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's a a gift and a curse because
Yeah.
it like I said, I should probably be more disciplined,
Well,
but
it could be a curse
I have fun up there.
in your real life too, because maybe you
Mhm.
say things that you're thinking that you shouldn't say. I feel like that's you, because that's
Every
me.
day.
Yeah, ever it's all every day, all day, same here.
Mhm.
And it's makes it dangerous out in the world, but great on stage for you. When people if people need to find out more about you and get a hold of you, how do they find you? Where can we
I've got a website, adamdeggycomedy.com, and then I'm on all the social media. My handle's just at Adam Degi, Instagram, TikTok. I've got a fan page on Facebook,
Okay.
YouTube. You could probably find me on MySpace if you wanted to. I'd have to remember my password,
Oh
but,
god, remember MySpace?
it was like
I know.
originally, it was like a music site.
Yeah, you just yeah.
It was like how people discovered bands, and then it became a social thing. That's actually how if you remember Dane Cook, that's kinda how he rose to fame was he blew up on MySpace originally.
Really?
Yeah.
I follow him on TikTok right now.
Mhm.
Changed my opinion of him.
Yeah, he's different. I mean, both physically and mentally, I think he's had some work done.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's people forget, man, that guy was huge in his
Oh
heyday.
my god,
He was
he filled arenas.
selling
No,
out Madison Square
I did
Garden.
not wanna do a beanie. I loved him, but I'm just gonna say this, he comes off as a little, I not he's he can
Like,
be
ma
kind of a jerk, kind of, some on
detached from
TikTok.
reality,
Yeah,
maybe a little bit?
there it is.
I mean, it's probably hard when you get that
I guess.
famous
Yeah.
and he's different.
Here
We'll leave it at that.
Well, here's what somebody said the other day, and it resonated. These big stars like the Lively's of the
Mhm.
world, she's getting dragged right now for being a jerk,
Of course.
are used to talking through their publicist and da da da
Mhm.
da da. And Dane Cook is one of those. Now you're talking one on one with your people on social, and if you're going to go on TikTok and you're
Yeah.
that kind of person, you got to talk like
Well,
a real person.
the
You can't talk
scariest
at
thing
us,
and listen, I don't feel bad for any of these bazillionaires
right?
who are
Same.
uber famous but if you think about just not being able to relate to any normal person, that's gotta be weird.
Yeah,
Like, you haven't even flown commercial in, like, 20 years. You can't go to the grocery
you've
store
never
because
grocery shopped.
you would get
Yeah,
Blake Lively would get like,
for
she
sure.
couldn't just go to the grocery store, which it's like, oh, what an issue, but yeah, it's gotta be weird to you're right, you can't even
Hmm.
you're so used to
Relate.
speaking through a third party or making these public statements through a third party, and then, yeah, you once you're just you in front of the camera, you're doing the social media stuff, and suddenly there's not as much of a
Or no
filter.
connection. You're not connecting with them
No,
because
because
you
you can't
can't.
and I think a lot of the
You're right.
comics who are uber famous, they have nothing you can't talk about being broke or
Yeah.
these everyday normal problems because people are like, "You don't
Yeah.
have those issues," you know?
Yeah.
So it's gotta be harder and harder to relate and to find things that, you know,
Yeah.
make you sound normal.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, people will ask him questions and he'll read it and just yeah, but I'm thinking he probably has other people who used to read questions for him. No
Yeah,
fault of his. It's just weird
no,
now, the
and it's
one-on-one thing.
just
But it was a really
I
good
think
point. I thought,
fame
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that stuff really does a number on some people.
Well, Adam Degi headlining in his hometown of Grand Rapids this weekend at Dr. Grin's. Thanks for chatting with me,
Thanks
Adam.
for having me again. I appreciate it. It's always nice to come back here.
Always great. I love you here. Anytime. We'll put all Adam's links too. Check all of our socials, and we'll put all his links below or above. I don't even know what it is, but thanks.
Thank you.